with Ramon going to be out, for the next, month or so, how do you account for the minutes or the situations that you would normally put him in? Who would be that guy that steps up?
Well, we have a couple options. One is Terrence. The other one is keep developing JoJo. Um, Play him alongside Javier. We've done that at times. Um, Look good in practice at times, but you just need to play more games to see how he reacts. And um, I think he's offensively, he's surprisingly pretty good at that. But being able to play him there some, I think helps, but also Terrence.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
What do you say, Avery?
Looking
Good
forward
to,
to seeing you at practice. Good to see you, Coach.
good to see you, eh?
Hey, when you think about, you got a veteran point guard in LJ Cryer, and obviously you're bringing along Mercy Miller. How has that transition been for the young freshman?
Probably tough. You know, all freshmen come in with uh, delusions of grandeur, and then they realize if you're going to play on one of the, it's hard for freshmen to play behind veterans. I give you the best example I can use, Avery, is Jamal Shed.
Mm,
Jamal
mm,
Shed, Jamal Shed, arguably is the best point guard that's ever played here.
mm.
Um, he's the best point guard I've coached. He didn't get to play as a freshman. He played behind Dejan Giroux. Dejan Giroux led that team to the Final Four. So uh, um, it just depends on opportunities. Like when we brought in Jarris Walker, we lost our starting four-man that year. And we felt like we could commit to Jarris early and allow him to grow. Well, there is no opportunity for Mercy to start because our starting point guard is Milos Uzan. Our starting two guard is LJ Cryer. And our other wing is Emmanuel Sharp. Emmanuel Sharp and LJ Cryer um, were starters on the Big 12 championship team last year.
Mm,
And
mm,
uh, and
mm.
Milos is in his third year starting in the Big 12, his first year
Yeah,
with us. So,
yeah.
and then we have a senior, a veteran who's been through the wars, in Malik Wilson. So, the hardest thing for freshmen sometimes just to be patient, but they just continue to work, focus on what's in front of you every day. He's getting to practice against those same guys, so he has
Mm,
an opportunity to grow playing against other really good players, and that's a good
mm.
situation for him to be in.
Good. Gotcha.
We'll go to Chris Baldwin with Paper City, Houston. Chris, please go ahead with your question for Coach.
Hey, Kelvin. How have you seen Set improve, and what's the biggest strides he's made?
Well, Seth's biggest enemy is his lack of experience coming from the Ivory Coast. Like a lot of kids that come from Africa, is when they started playing basketball at a serious level. Most of those guys, including the greatest of them all, Elijah Wan, started off being a soccer player because that was their national sport. Basketball is something that got introduced to a lot of those kids later in life. The thing they all have in common is how incredibly intelligent they are. You know, most of the kids I've had from Africa speak multiple languages. They're extremely bright, but their inexperience is their biggest enemy early. So Seth didn't start playing basketball until he's 15. So he's relatively new to the game. But I think he's made great strides. Um, there was a time last year you couldn't put him in the game. But, we always take kids with a plan. For instance, we had a kid named Chris Harris um, from Madison High School here in Houston. And, once he got here from San Jac, we knew he was not going to play his first year. Second year, maybe, but we felt like his second semester of his third year, he'd be in a position to impact winning. There's a difference in going in a game, getting minutes, and impact winning. A lot of freshmen go in the game and they impact losing more than they do winning, because they don't know what they don't know. Veteran guys know the shortcuts. It's like Avery being a 10-year vet in the NBA, and here comes a rookie. Rookie doesn't know. That's not fair to the rookie. That's why sometimes you have a really special freshman. And he has an opportunity right away. But a kid like Sid is developing. I love Sid. I love his approach. He's a pleaser. He has a passion in practice every day, and he so desperately wants to succeed. I love his pride. I've had some really prideful kids, and their pride is what drove them. I remember Galen had a lot of self-pride, and his self-pride drove him to the point that he eliminated failure from his experience. His pride wouldn't let him fail, and we've had a lot of kids like that. They had a chip on their shoulder about not succeeding. Come hell or high water, I'm going to succeed. I'm going to make sure I do this. For Sid, it's just part of the process, and we're patient with him. And like all our kids, the only people's opinions they need to worry about is the coaching staff and their players. What other people think or say is really irrelevant. So don't get caught up in, if somebody says you can't do that or do that, don't worry about that stuff. It's all BS anyway.
Thank you, Chris. We'll go back to Avery Johnson, please. Avery, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach. So when you look at A&M-Corpus Christi, they turn teams over, at about close to 16 turnovers a game. How much are you going to talk to your team? Obviously, you're one of the best in terms of ball security.
Yeah. Well, one of the things they do, Avery, is they pick up full court. So in this game, we'll probably have to bring our big back in the backcourt to relieve that pressure. And he may have to, escort him up the court so he doesn't have to get turned 2 or 3 times. Because over time, one of the things Corpus Christi does best is how many times they sub. It's like hockey. It's like a damn line change every 3 or 4 minutes because they play 13 guys consistently.
Yeah.
They got 13 guys averaging almost 12 minutes a game. But they have clearly a best player in Gary Clark. Deese, we played them last year, so that helps from a familiarity standpoint. Deese is a very talented kid. They're very athletic. They're deep. I was reading some quotes this morning from Matt at Purdue talking about the success they had getting into the paint. I think it was a 17-point game, 70. I can't remember what the score is now. Maybe it was 80-63, something like that.
Yeah.
But Matt was talking about how much success they had getting into the paint and causing problems there. So that just tells you that we've got to keep the ball in front of us, and whether they're in DHOs or step-up screens or regular ball screens, we've got to get to the line of scrimmage and do our jobs. At the end of the day, when you play different teams that all have a different plan, it all comes down to defending certain actions. What actions are they running to get their best player shots? And when that action breaks down, what is it they do best? Do they spread you and drive you? Do they bring it up a middle pick and roll? So, defensively, we look at how teams want to attack other teams, and then we come up with our game plan on how we're going to guard whatever action it is that they have the most success with.
Thank you, Avery. We'll go back to Joseph Duarte. Go ahead, Joseph.
Kelvin, if I could go back to the freshmen, not just Mercy, but in general, I'm going to assume that when they get here June 1st, the clock starts to go on them in terms of what you want to see the development, the incremental parts of the first year. At this point of the year, is each freshman different, or is there certain things that you'd like to see from them, whether it's in practice or the limited time they get on the court?
All freshmen are the same. Some are just more advanced than others, depending on their background. You know, Jay, we've had so many really good freshmen, but you can tell the ones that are going to be ready to play right away. I mean, I have zero interest in talking about who I think will and who I think won't. But I don't think I've had one surprise me. They're kind of what I thought they were. Mercy is exactly where I thought he'd be. I didn't pencil Mercy in as a starter. Coming from Notre Dame prep, I thought there's a good chance that LJ would beat him out. I thought there's a good chance that Emmanuel probably could beat him out too. But I mean, you guys spend more time thinking about the freshmen than I do. I never think about them unless you guys bring it up. I'm worried about preparing my team, and you guys are talking about this player, that player. I never think about that player or that player. He's part of our team, and he goes through everything like everybody else. None of them are different. None of them are more special than the other one. They're all the same to me. They're part of the team. Here's what we do. You guys bring up individual names. That's your agenda to talk about that kid. That kid is. I have no agenda with any of them. I know who the starting five is. I know who the next three are. The next two after that. Then after that, and the thing I look for though, Chase McCarty, for instance. Chase went to high school in Huntsville, Alabama. I saw him with Qantas in Kansas City at an AAU tournament, I think when he was 16. The thing that jumped out to me was what a great stroke he had and a good body. If these kids were at programs that were developing and they were hoping to make the NIT, or they're fighting to have a winning season, all these guys would be playing 25 minutes there. We're not one of those programs. You guys know what I'm saying. I don't like to talk about our team in that manner, but we've been pretty good here for a while. It's not easy for freshmen to come in here when you have so many veterans in front of them, but next year, Chase will be a freshman and Mercy will be a sophomore. We got other freshmen coming in. We got other guys coming back, and I'll put another team together the way I see them fitting, and we'll move on. But I don't spend a lot of time worrying about this kid or that kid.
We'll go to Chris Baldwin again, please. Chris, go ahead.
Hey, Kelvin, how's Juwan doing with his foot, and is that something you're going to continue to sort of err on the side of caution with the conference season coming up?
I don't know, just day to day. I haven't seen him today. I meet with John every day at 9:00. J1 was in for treatment today, and I'll tell you what John told me. He's coming along. Whatever that means. Got practice at 3, I'll see. I don't spend a lot of time worrying about that either.
Thank you, Chris. We'll go back to Avery Johnson, please.
Coach, last one for me. While everybody want to talk about all of the stuff that's happening with college sports now, I want to talk a little bit about the continuity of your assistant coaching staff. How important that's been to your success as your coach, building your culture and continuity. It's just fun to see those guys consistently, working with you year in and year out?
Yeah, that's a huge part of our success, Anthony, is we have such a tight-knit group here. Everybody's program has a family element, especially if the coaches know how to build a culture. Some do, some don't, some better than others. Ours is what it is. But our kids are comfortable here. They like it here. Kids choose to come here because they want to be coached. Their parents love the discipline. They love how we go about doing things. And that's a big part of how we recruit. They know who's going to be their position coach. They know who's coming back. Probably our best recruiters are our players. When parents talk to me about our program, sometimes they'll say, all the coaches sound the same. I said, that may be true, but I'm going to text you some phone numbers of our players. Why don't you call them? Talk to our players. Let that be something that you consider. I only know about our program. I never talk about other programs when I recruit. I don't know enough about them, but I know a lot about ours. So I sell our program in the ways it should be sold. But a lot of times our best recruiters are our players. And I tell them, don't just talk to the guys that start. Don't talk to the stars. Talk to the guys that sit on the bench if you really want to know about our program, because they're the ones that will tell you the truth. And we're completely we're open here. We don't hide anything. We run our program the way we see fit. There's really nothing outside of our doors or our buildings that we worry about. Because of social media. I was reading something the other day. I think Bobby Champagne might have showed it to me about Kansas State and about NIL and about what people were saying on social media and how that was affecting them. And I thought that was just a shame that it's getting to that point. That kids are focusing on that. And I think one of the most liberating things that a person can go through in his life is where you get to the point where what other people think or say has no impact on your life whatsoever. But that's part of being part of this family is we're going to protect you. We're going to help you grow. We're going to expose you to things you should be exposed to. Adversity and failure allows you to grow. I don't know why you would run from that. Whatever kids are going through, embrace it, learn from it. It's part of life. Once you leave college, you're going to have adversity. You're going to have failure. The people that critique you and are constantly evaluating you, they have to go through it too. We're all the same. We're not special here. We're part of something bigger than us. University of Houston is way bigger than our basketball program. We all have a leader here. She's called Renew Couture. That's our president. She's far more important than I am. I know that. So if everybody will just put themselves and humble themselves and realize we're all part of something bigger and try to improve every day at something and realize that on your way to improvement, you're going to have some failures, but don't let that failure impact your growth. That's an important part of your growth. It really is. And I wish I could do a better job of reaching out to young people and getting them to understand that is keep your head up, get up when you fall down, but understand that falling down thing is important. It's okay. It's okay. And when you fall down, don't let what other people think or say keep you down. Get up. That's the great thing about a lot of our kids that were under recruited. Um, I, I probably prefer under recruited than where they rank them. I don't know enough about where kids are ranked, because when we're recruiting them, most of the kids weren't ranked, and now all of a sudden they got ranked. And everybody liked them. Well, we liked them before they were ranked. But they're going to have failures too, and people set their expectations, and the reason why they get upset sometimes is because of unrealistic expectations.
Oh, Jesus. Yes.
And all of a sudden, a kid hasn't failed. He just failed in your eyes, not his eyes or his coach's eyes. Maybe you had unrealistic expectations. And I think part of one of the societal things we're going through right now is understanding the value of getting up when you fall down and not letting other people keep you down. So that's part of our job, right, Avery, is to teach these kids about life. Basketball is basketball. That's going to come and go. They're going to spend many more days in their life outside of basketball than they are in basketball. This is a very short window. I was talking to J1 Roberts about that the other day, that his window is closing now, that he has an opportunity to make his mark here in this program and at this university in this city, and go out with a bang, man. Let it go. Let it rip. Let's have some fun.
Thanks, Coach.
We'll go back to Chris Baldwin, please. Go ahead, Chris.
Kelvin, following up on that a little, do you think social media, does that make it harder, for kids today because people have so much access to them and can, just reach out or say whatever?
Yeah, that's probably something you should ask those kids about rather than me, because what they say will be authentic and genuine. I'm just offering an opinion that doesn't matter.
We'll go back to Joseph Duarte, please. Joseph?
Kelvin, off the beaten path here, but what's your favorite part of the holiday? What was your favorite gift that you got?
I think you're breaking up there, Joseph. I couldn't really hear you.
I was asking about your favorite part of the holiday, and do you have a special gift that you got when you were a kid that you still remember to this day?
My favorite part of the holiday now is we don't really get a holiday. We play Saturday. That's tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. I'm not used to all these games coming back to back like this. So we play tomorrow, then we practice on the 26th, play the 30th. So I think I'm going recruiting on the 22nd. I might even be recruiting on the 23rd. So don't really get a break, don't really get a holiday. But when I do get some time, whether it's a day or a day and a half, I enjoy being around my grandkids. Karen makes this killer cider, apple cider, and she puts those cinnamon red hots in it, and and she keeps it hot during the day, so you can go over there and pull on that cider anytime you want. I like to sit there and eat cookies and drink that cider. That makes this old man happy. Just sitting in my recliner, drinking that awesome cider Karen makes and eating a cookie, and then counting the minutes down when I get to see my grandkids. I think that's what makes me happy.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll go back to Chris Baldwin, please. Go ahead, Chris.
Kelvin, did your time in the NBA, did that change how you evaluated talent or
No.
look?
No,
And
no. I saw a kid named Eduardo Nahara when he was 16 years old, just like I saw. He was 6'6", 190, just like I saw J1 Roberts when he was 6'6", 190, just like I saw Fabian White, 6'6", 190. I recruit the way I recruit. I've never followed the path other people follow. I've never fallen in love with kids' ratings. I don't care about that. That's mostly for fans with uh, and I think it's great that fans have team egos. It's not their ego; it's their ego for their team, which I think is a good thing. You should want your team to do good, but trust me, fans care about that way more than coaches do. Um, I don't care about ratings. I don't care what other people think of our players. Nobody had any idea about Marcus Sasser. Next thing I know, he's a first-round draft choice. Then you bring these 5 stars here, everybody thinks is going to be a first-round draft choice. A lot of them don't make it. So none of that stuff at the end of the day matters. I know what I look for. Um, I know what's important to me as a coach. Um, there's a lot of guys in the NBA. One of them's on this call right now, Avery Johnson, that had a long, successful career in the NBA. And I promise you, nobody recruited Avery out of high school. He certainly wasn't a 5-star. So I don't really care about that stuff. Most of it's fantasy anyway.
Coach, only one coach recruited me, Ron Black at New Mexico Junior College. That was my only scholarship.
Well, how did you make it when you weren't a 5-star?
It's what's under the hood, what people can't see.
That's why every coach knows what he looks for. I know what it is I look for, and I don't look to see where they're rated before I recruit them. I just look to see whether I think they can play for us and whether I can help that young man become a good player. And it's one of the things I like most about Bryce Jackson, this high school kid over here at Shadow Creek. I think he's going to be a really good player one day. Just as I think Kingston Flemings and Isaiah Harwell and Big Chris Cenac. I think we can help those kids. And I think those kids came here because they want to see how good they can be. And they're all committed to helping us win. And we'll see. It's not easy, though. It's not easy being good, is it, Avery? You know, I think about the guys that Pops had, like Bruce Bowen. Nobody recruited Bruce. Guys like Fabricio Oberto. But a bunch of kids that you'd have to get off 3 X's to go find. Those kids are on the main highway, hard to come by. Kids I've had to recruit over the years. You take 1 exit, then you go get to the next room, take another exit. But I've had a lot of them work out. I've been appreciative of those kids. I have a kid that played for me. I signed him to go to Washington State, and then I took the Oklahoma job and took him with me to Oklahoma. Ernie Abercrombie went to high school here in Houston. If you were to Google barbecue companies, barbecue food distributors, you'll find Ernie Abercrombie. He and his dad cooked at the White House for George W. Bush at the 4th of July. That was one of my favorites. 6'3", 250-pound point guard.
Wow.
You wind up getting 25 points and 25 rebounds in the same game, or maybe it's 22 rebounds against Eric Dampier in Mississippi State. Pretty good find. I like finding guys like Ernie, J1 Roberts, Javier Francis, and developing those guys. I probably enjoy that more than anything.